You're listening to the Travis Makes Money podcast presented by GoHighLevel.com. For a free 30-day trial of the best all-in-one digital marketing software tool on the planet, just go to GoHighLevel.com/Travis. What's going on, moneymakers? Welcome back to another episode of the Travis Makes Money podcast, where it's our mission to help you make more money. Today on the show, we're talking about e-commerce and finding ways to make sure that your new product launches aren't going to break the internet and you can actually get customers that way. And it's with my new friend, Michael Dodsworth. Michael is the founder and CEO of Fanfare, a founding engineer with multiple startup exits to giants like Salesforce and Ticketmaster. He spent his entire career building systems to handle massive scale. After years of solving high-demand ticket rushes for live events, Michael created Fanfare to bring that same stability to e-commerce. Fanfare protects millions in revenue during high-pressure product drops, turning launch day chaos into clean growth. It's the formula that powers successes like SKIMS' $1 million in a minute drop, and it's now available to any brand ready to scale. Michael, thanks so much for taking the time to join me on the show.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's great to be here.
So let's go back in time. Tell me how you made your first dollar ever, and then we'll get into some other good stuff.
My first dollar ever. Well, actually, it was in pounds. You can probably tell from the accent, not from around these parts.
Fair, yeah.
I think it was, given jobs that my parents kind of pushed me out of the door and told me, you need to go do this thing. Like, you need to make something of yourself one day. I kind of grew up in north of the UK, very stoic English family. So it's more like once you're old enough to be able to kind of wander around and do a thing, you have a paper round. And I think that's where I earned my first pound. It was hard work. I feel like I still have spinal damage from lifting like 400 free papers up and down these really steep hills.
That's fair, dude.
I'm not sure how much of a lesson there was in that. I think just the struggle, was the lesson in that.
Sure.
That my parents don't really care for my physical safety. I think those are the only two lessons to take from that.
How old were you at that time?
I must have been 12, 13.
Okay. Yeah.
Something like that.
We definitely learned something about real work really, like super early on. You know, when you do that type of physical demanding job, it kind of like teaches you like, you know what? I'm not sure that I want to end up doing a physically demanding job for the rest of my life. So maybe I should go to school or like get a degree or do something different.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's definitely something to just the discipline of it. Like, I'm going to have to wake up every day and do this thing.
100%.
And it feels painful before you start that walk, before you start going up that hill. It feels really painful, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it. And the more it becomes habit, the easier it becomes. And that's definitely what I felt there. But I think it was my brother coming home one day with a Commodore 64 that really changed my path. I started building things and coding and doing all kinds of things when I was kind of teenage years and experimenting with that. And I loved it. I loved solving problems. I loved building new things from scratch. And that just kind of continued from there. So through college, found my way to London. I found my way into a startup called Coral, which was a content management service. Very early stage, doing some really interesting stuff. And pretty shortly after we started, we were scooped up by Salesforce.
Wow.
And then got to spend some amazing formative years at a very fast-growing Salesforce and some really gnarly issues of scale and all of that good stuff.
What year did you join Salesforce?
2007.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, I mean, this is like hyper growth period for them.
Yeah, I think all of the engineering team fit in like one or two large rooms.
Wow.
And then when I left a few years later, it was whole venues we were booking out just to fit the engineering team in. So yeah, it's rapid growth for sure.
Wow. What were the biggest lessons or takeaways from that experience working for a company like that?
I think going from a startup to even though they're growing quickly, they're pretty well established. And then through those years, very established. So definitely the switch between the two is jarring. And you realize, whether you're a startup person or not, I think, through those years. Like if you it's very easy to get comfortable at something like a Salesforce. There's always someone who can do a thing for you or is supposed to do a thing for you, or there's a process in place, or there's like everything's kind of established because everyone's been through those problems again and again.
Sure.
And when you're at a startup, you just have to fix and kind of chart those paths. Like there's nothing there. You can't reach for a process. You have to define the process. And that's a huge difference between the two. So I think that was something that taught me, like I actually really enjoy where it's a little hazy, where you get to define things, where you get to build things from the very beginning. And I think just the closest to the customer too, like a company of that size, you're pretty far removed from the actual problem that you're solving for your customers. Whereas at a startup, they will call you and shout at you if you're doing something wrong or you're not serving their needs. So again, that's something I enjoy. It's not for everyone for sure. I worked with some really incredible people at Salesforce too. And the space that we're in right now is very much a huge spike in traffic coming your way. And your traditional vendors, even if they're fairly established and well-resourced like a Ticketmaster, they fall down. So how do we stay up when all those companies, all those vendors fall down? It's because of those years of having to build things at Salesforce to scale to some insane level of traffic that Salesforce gets.
Oh, wow.
So I think that was incredibly important work.
And then through that, you figured out you're definitely the startup guy. You like the unknown of going from 0 to 1.
I do. And I mean, I've kind of done this Goldilocks size of company tour through my career. So I did very small to begin with at Coral. We were 6-7 people when we were acquired.
Wow.
Salesforce, obviously, many people. And then through to Optimizely, which was kind of a company going through, I would call adolescence.
Okay.
Really smart people, really interesting problem been solved, growing really quickly, and kind of found product market fit. They're just kind of trying to figure things out and trying to move into different areas and do that kind of thing. And then through to a ticketing company called Rival, which early stage, I was the first engineer at Rival here in LA.
First engineer.
And as the first actual non-C-suite hire, first engineer.
Wow.
So built stuff from the ground up. As you can tell from the name, we were kind of on the nose with the name. We were going after the likes of Ticketmaster. We have an ex-CEO of Ticketmaster. We had the Kromkes, early invested is in ours. And we were going after ticketing the SoFi Stadium and handling the Rams and handling the Taylor Swifts of the world. So again, like from the very beginning, has to be something that scales, has to be something that stays up in that moment, and has to be things that, doesn't anger the fans.
Yeah.
The fans fairly. So
it's got to perform
really
in the clutch. Yeah. And if you're making promises to companies of that size, you better deliver too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just as a personal gripe, we've all been through that process of like tickets going on sale on a Monday morning, and you have the multiple tabs open. You see the spinner, and you're in this queue for 8-9 hours. Don't go away from your desk. Whatever you do, you'll miss your spot. Like those are just terrible processes for people who are diehard fans of whoever it is.
Yeah, you better get
whatever it is.
Better have a container to pee in. Can't take a bathroom break.
That's right. Yeah, there's a Disney season passes was on our pre-seed deck because they had a warning saying this may take longer than 24 hours, and you should keep your browser tab open for that 24 hours. Like, these are people spending thousands of dollars.
Dude.
Diehard Disney fans. Like, don't treat your fans.
That blows my mind, man, especially because I'm not a Disney guy. So don't people close to me know, like, don't get me started on the Disney rabbit trail because of the terrible lines and super expensive stuff and everything about it. But I still find myself taking my kids to Disneyland though. Still, you know what I mean? Like you can't get out from doing it. So may as well embrace it. Well, it seems like every step in the journey for you, like now it's like what Steve Jobs said, right? It's always easy to connect the dots when you look backwards. But I'm curious, like how how did you keep finding yourself in this space? Like, were you actively pursuing companies that were doing things like this? Or like to get hired as the first engineer, it's like you don't even really know about those companies. How did you find that company? Were they actively recruiting somebody like you? Like, did you get an introduction from somewhere? Like, how did you just kind of end up finding yourself in this space over and over again?
Yeah, I mean, there's some amount of luck for sure. I think that's just the way it is. I think you have to make sure that you're ready to capitalize on whatever luck comes your way. So, in my previous jobs, career, just going around in the world, just meeting people and just talking with them about what they're doing, what I'm doing, and then just kind of keeping those relationships around, just talking with people. And then when they think of a thing, like when they're starting a thing, if you are the person who was exceptional at previous place, or like this person remembers that you had this insightful point about a thing, they'll maybe reach out to you in that early group. So that for me was how it happened for me. I just found an amazing place in Coral when I started way back in London. And then just those relationships at Salesforce through Optimizely, through like these people I still speak to almost on a daily basis.
Wow.
And, I think, people are always spinning up new things and doing interesting things, or just have questions about interesting things. And if you can provide that feedback and if you can be there for them, then I think they'll remember that when it comes around. So I think that's, for me, how I found my way into these places, like ex-colleagues who I worked with at prior places. We had an amazing time. We built something amazing. We'll reach out. But yeah, I feel like you have to build up your chops so that you're ready to capitalize on whatever luck, because everyone has good and bad luck. They stumble into things, their members stumble over things. And if you're ready and kind of willing to take that step, been willing to take that step, I think is a massive point. Is I see a lot of people stuck in paralysis. They see an interesting opportunity, or they feel that there's something there, but they'll just kind of shy away from taking that first step. And I think you just need to get going sometimes on things. Even if you're unsure about how the path is going to completely play out, like that's okay. You'll figure that out on the way.
And those are,
it's just that belief.
Yeah, those are the same people that tend to talk about how there's no opportunity in the world too. Like, well, I'm not given opportunity because of this thing or that thing, because I'm not qualified, because of my background, because of this other piece of context that's missing. Like, I just don't get any opportunities. And it's like, well, what do you think the people who are getting into opportunities are doing? It's the same. Like, it's just that they actually take the step to make it work, regardless of if they know it's going to work out or not.
Yeah, and I think it's like back to the paper round, like knowing it's in the discipline of waking up every day and just getting going.
Yeah.
And I think people, they see this insurmountable thing in front of them, and they feel some momentum to get them going. But I think the murkiness of that path, the seemingly impossible in front of them, just dissuades them from actually keeping going and keeping doing those first steps. And everyone goes through multiple pivots, right? I've got multiple company names that we kind of rotated through in the very beginning because I had ideas that didn't play out, and that's fine. Like, it's just part of the process of kind of weeding these things out.
So talk to me about Fanfare. How did this come about?
Again, real frustration as a consumer, as a fan of ticketing, as not a fan of ticketing, as a fan of going to events and being frustrated by the process of ticketing. And then as an aspiring sneakerhead, finding myself in product launches, product drops, and seeing all of this customer frustration that we saw at Rival in retail, in commerce, in collectibles, in fashion, in streetwear. Like, so many different categories have this same problem where, scarcity is this incredibly powerful, potent tool that brands either deliberately go after or just find themselves with. And on the back end of that, always a terrible consumer experience. Always the spinner, the bots grabbing stuff and selling it on the secondary market, like all of those things are just, for me, solvable problems. It's kind of a cliche that an English person's obsessed with queuing, but here we are. And I really feel like these processes are broken. And for the vendor too, these processes are just firefights. Like when Best Buy wants to sell the Switch 2, they know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like they know it's going to be a complete cluster, and they're going to be in the moment having to deal with negative sentiment, things falling over, the site not scaling up, like all kinds of issues that come out of a launch like that. And Fanfare is just to address those concerns, but also just, I think there's enormous value in the data around these kind of launches for the people who are unsuccessful in them. Like, those people who waited more than 24 hours for their Disney season passes. Disney typically don't know who they are because they left. They just bailed on the process. Like you should want to know who those people are. You should want to reach out to them after they failed. If they failed multiple times, maybe you bring them into an exclusive drop the next time to keep them going as fans. So huge, I think huge missed opportunity there. And just every time there's a drop, the negative sentiment that I see online is distressing to me. So that's the origin story of Fanfare.
If somebody's listening right now and they're looking at this path and it's kind of like, man, well, it's good for you that you got into coding so young. Good for you that your brother brought that Commodore back home, however many years ago that was. I had to be, 90s or early 90s?
Oh, yeah, at least.
Yeah. But right now, there's this weird new thing called AI that's kind of almost democratizing the ability to be able to build your own application, even if you are not a software engineer. If you were talking to somebody who has not ever, they don't know anything about it at all, but they have some interest in building some things, how would you recommend somebody get started along that path today?
I think the tooling that's available today, especially even in the last couple of months,
right,
is incredible for me. And I would love to have started my career with some of these tools available because, not just filling the gap with coding, but really anything else. You can ask a question and get a reasonable response on. So starting a business, like what kind of tax implications do I have if I'm starting a company? All of those things you would dig through a ton of information. You would have to go and reach out to experts and so on. Like you can make a first pass and get a reasonable answer and know where to go using AI tooling. So I would say, don't just think about the coding side of it. Think about bouncing ideas around, just kind of rubber ducking your idea through AI and just kind of exploring the marketing around it, exploring the idea, the go-to-market for these ideas. I found enormous value in those kind of things too, just to use it to explore. And then I would say a lot of people I see, they kind of just want to vibe code and just, I have this idea, go make that thing. And I think there's definitely some value in using it as a tutor, trying to understand some of these concepts. Like maybe you'll not be a coder of 20 years in a year from now, but having a basic understanding of how things fit together, I think is important. I think being able to direct AI agents to do a particular thing is a real skill.
So would you learn from AI tools how to instruct AI tools, or would you go to a YouTube channel? What step one, what would you do?
Yeah, I think I would head over to Claude Code. Has this artifact tool that came out in the last few weeks.
Claude Code?
Claude Code and Artifacts is the product there. I think it was maybe a week or two ago, sort of start of July time. And you can go there and you can ask it to create a landing page for whatever, or a component that does something in particular. So let's say you're building a time management app, or something to do something like a Monday.com and Asana.com. You want to go there and just flesh out something through the artifacts tool. You can do that, and it can create something that's reasonable. You can click around, but then you can ask questions about it. How does this work? what frameworks are you using? Like, what language should I use to describe some of these things? Like, can you walk me through the process that you went through in thinking about how you built this? Like, it will give you, I mean, there's going to be some glazing in there, like always with AI, there's some hazards in there, but it will give you a breakdown of the process, the process that people go through, right? Because these things are all documented online. You can follow it through and ask questions. I find it really powerful to just be able to have a back and forth with something rather than just reading someone's viewpoint or reading someone's article, being able to just have an actual like deep dive on things I'm confused about is a massive difference for me. So I would recommend just experiment on things like artifacts, just know what these tools are capable of and where they fall down, and then just ask the tool itself, like how would I improve my prompts? How would I, what would I call these things if I was doing this again? And it will give you a reasonably good explanation. Like they do pretty good work at, boiling that information down and giving you a summary.
Have you read or researched anything about GPT-5 that's supposed to be coming out end of summer?
I've seen some rumors.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular that's like piqued your interest?
I guess I'm just curious, like how long it will be before software engineering teams are almost 100% replaced by using tools by just one person who just at least understands the infrastructure or architecture of the code base.
Yeah, I mean, these tools are coming along so quickly.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, right? We're only like, a year and a half, 2 years into this thing?
Yeah, I mean, my journey using these tools, I was a very early user of all of these tools because I was interested and wanted to experiment. And yeah, I think a year ago, I was probably using just really basic completion. Like you would start writing a thing and have it complete, and then you would fix all of the problems that it introduced. Through to right now, I will kick off multiple Claude Code sessions before I like disappear off to bed or like have a meeting or something like that. Come back and it's implemented probably several hours worth of work. And it takes a lot of planning and you have to unpick a bunch of stuff, but that's going to improve over time for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think a year from now, someone who's good at being able to prompt and know how to direct these things is going to be able to do like multiple days, maybe weeks worth of work, just, having this thing spin around and do a ton of tasks for them. But I mean, I definitely feel like as engineers, having some product sensibilities, having some design chops is going to be incredibly helpful. Like I feel like knowing how to direct it and what makes a good app, what makes a bad app, or where people are going to be interested, where people are going to fall over is more important than, people who can just crank out fairly boilerplate code over time. I feel like there's going to be the specialists and then the people who can, think about how products should be laid out and how tooling should be laid out and all of those things.
That's going to be a pretty wild future. That's all I know. Next 5 to 10 years are going to be really interesting to watch.
I don't know. I mean, it's been a journey the last couple of years, honestly. Just seeing something been a curiosity where I'd like, show my family that they could create a poem about something. Like it's more of a plaything to something I use all the time. Like I rarely type these days when I'm coding, which is really odd to me.
Right. Right.
But I'm using speech to text. So I'm doing the, Star Trek Scotty thing and talking to my machine, which is kind of weird if you're sat in a WeWork, but like it's so much faster. These tools are, they work around grammatical errors and all kinds of you get distracted halfway through a prompt, doesn't really care too much. It'll just keep plowing through. So, my process has completely changed over the last 12 months.
Michael, I appreciate you coming on, sharing some things with us, taking the time. Where can people go to get more from you and learn more about Fanfare?
I mean, I'm always on LinkedIn for my sins, so please reach out, book an appointment, grab some time with me. Happy to talk through all of these things, AI, Fanfare, and drops in general. If you head over to fanfare.io, we're looking for up-and-coming brands, the streetwear, footwear brands that are running into issues with their product drops, their product launches. Absolutely. Always open to chat about this stuff.
Fanfare.io, or go to LinkedIn and find Michael Dodsworth over there. Michael, thank you for taking the time. Everybody else listening, remember, money only solves your money problems, but it's a little bit easier to solve the rest of your problems with some money in the bank. So let's solve that problem first here on the Travis Makes Money podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys next time. Peace out.